Hey everybody, back, brand new Take Aim, and excited to get a new show out today with Blake Garrett again from the Unfiltered Outdoor app. And I'm back from vacation just trying to get back in the sword of things. Blake was out there reaping turkeys, so we're doing a recap of his last hunt and the couple hunts before that. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. All right, everybody, we are live, back, brand new Take Aim. I'm back from a week's vacation and trying to get back in the groove. And with me is the unofficial co-host, Blake Garrett from Unfiltered Outdoors. What's up, Blake?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. Happy to talk to you.
Yeah, been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. You know how it is when you're out of town and, like, no phone signal. It's like you're really out of town, like, you know, falling off the planet. So it's hard to keep up with everybody. And but while I was gone, I did notice I had 1 day of signal in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I noticed you had reaped a turkey, so I just wanted to get with you and kind of recap the whole season.
Oh yeah, man. Super cool way to end it. We were back home in Missouri and went to a new place up in North Missouri by Kirksville, and man, it was like we've had so much rain here in Missouri, and it rained that day, and we just waited, just stayed in bed, didn't get out of bed till like 7 o'clock in the morning. Made the hour-and-a-half drive from Columbia up there and got there and didn't even, literally we were pulling off of the highway into the lane of the property, and this bird's strutting on a hill with another gobbler and like 2 hens, probably 350 yards away, just up there strutting around. So we make a mad dash, stop the truck, get the reapers out, get them ready, and kind of figure out, you know, how we can get around to them terrain-wise and where we can stay low. That area up there is just kind of conducive for reaping and you know, big hills and deep ditches and stuff like that. So kind of found our way around to him, got up on a big hill, and my camera guy just stayed behind a reaper. We run 2 scoot and shoots. And he films behind one and kind of hangs back, you know, 80 to 100 yards behind us. And then I go with the other one and kind of try to make it happen. But got that all set up and started kind of working the bird. And he sat out there and went around in circles for probably the first 10 minutes of me crawling towards him until I got to about, I'd say, 100 yards or so. And I kind of shook the reaper, you know, and kind of imitating that fake breeding that they do a lot of times before they'll actually breed, and that just changed him. His head turned completely white and started coming. They had just a little bit, you know how turkeys are, they had a little bitty ditch that they had to cross that was probably only a foot to a half foot deep, and they come all the way down it and get to a point where it's the shallowest, and once they broke that ditch, it was about 80 yards from me. Once they broke that ditch, it was just a sprint. I mean, they covered the 80 yards in a matter of probably 3-4 seconds. I mean, just ran straight to us, and I just held tight and let him come as far as they wanted to come, and put it into his body and shot him at, I think it's 7 feet, something like that, just outrageous. So just the way I wanted to end it, you know, we do so much reaping out west in Nebraska and Kansas with a bow early that we really don't get to enjoy the shotgun part of it, and it was really, really good in the season with, you know, a really close, within 10 feet with a shotgun, just the way we wanted to do it, you know. So.
Yeah, that is really cool. I know that I saw a little bit of the footage. I actually didn't get to watch it all, but I saw the start of it, and, you know, basically I was watching it right before you called me, and you called in, and, man, it was just like, well, that day kind of looked like it was like a little bit gloomy, was it, Blake?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was still kind of misting a little bit, just a hangover from that rain, you know.
Yeah, it looked a little gloomy, but that pasture and kind of the other side of the creek where the turkeys were, man, it was just so like picture perfect. You know, the pasture part was so green, and it was just like a really gorgeous setting for that hunt.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, guys always think, you know, we're like ingrained with you have to have cover and you have to, you know, watch your movement with turkeys. It's just what we've known our whole life growing up turkey hunting, and you don't realize that with the scoot and shoot, it kind of changes everything. You have to kind of go back and think, okay, I can move, I can go on this bird. It was almost looked like a golf course. You know, that grass was only 4 inches tall, probably. I mean, there was no cover. We were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, completely
open. Yeah, absolutely. And that for that bird to watch us, I think the entire reap, I looked at the video clip, and we shot it as one solid clip. I think the entire clip was like 16 minutes long. So we were out in front of that bird for a little bit, within 150 yards, moving around and trying to get in position and stuff, and they just absolutely have no clue. It's the best Trojan horse that's ever been there. I can tell you that.
Oh, that's funny. That is crazy. That is cool, though. You said it was a brand new farm, so you didn't really have a lot of intel either on like what the turkeys were doing or where they'd be or anything, did you?
No, No, we really had no clue. We just kind of knew the terrain. I'd gone up and looked at the farm, and I just pulled up onto the farm. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect for reaping. Just big hills. You can see a long ways. It just sets up like Kansas does. It's just see forever. And you've got the terrain. It's not just flat. You've got the terrain to where if I have to get around to him, I can get around to him and pop up on him within that 200-yard mark or so. So, on Kansas you can get in trouble because it's so flat and so open that if you see a bird, 600, 800 yards out, you've got to crawl behind your reaper that entire way, which is doable, no problem, but it's just tiring for it. I'm getting too old for it. So it's nice
it's hard on the knees, Blake.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to relax and just get down in the creek or something and sneak around and then kind of pop up on him and then only have to crawl, 100 yards or 150 yards on him. But
now, I think I've asked you before, I don't quite remember, but were you using a brand new reaping decoy this year?
Yeah, so the Mojo makes a scoot and shoot, and we kind of customized it. I got it actually last year was when I really started reaping a lot and kind of saw the benefits of it. And once we got it, we were like, okay, how can we kind of form this to what we like to do, which obviously is filming and obviously bow hunting because we spend so much time in other states early. So we kind of made some changes to it. Obviously, we put a real fan on it, which is pretty common. A lot of guys do that, but we took and put real wings on it. Just to give us a little bit more cover when I'm trying to draw the bow, to not flare the birds and things like that. And then this year I made an upgrade to it as well. I killed a bird in Nebraska, I think it was Nebraska or Kansas, and took the front breast feathers off of him, and I put it onto the decoy and actually attached it to the decoy, to the front of it. So this thing looks so real, it's unbelievable. But we do that just because now we're really working on some close stuff with them. We shot, as a lot of hunters do, you always try to up your game each year and try to do new things that are fun and try to keep it new, So we're really working on killing birds really close. We have a tally mark on the back of that shoot and shoot that we always mark if we kill a bird within 10 yards. It's called the 10-yard club, and that was that bird in Missouri was the 20th bird that we've killed within 10 yards off of that reaper within a year. So it kind of shows you, you can absolutely be deadly with the thing, and it's a giant game changer, man. I can't tell you how many people I talked to this year that were like, oh, it's a horrible year. They're not calling. We had so much rain, and the birds just weren't working, and we had a great year. I killed 6 birds off a reaper within 15 yards this year in 3 states. I mean, just outrageous. And we had some super days. Like, the day in Kansas, we shot one at 11:50, one at 1:05, and then we drove 2.5 hours to Nebraska and killed one in 15 minutes of being in Nebraska. So we killed 3 birds in a matter of an hour and a half total hunting with a bow in 2 states. I mean, just proof of how well. Yeah, right. Just a proof of how well that concept works.
That's a crazy concept. I know that, for you to kill 20 in a year, if you have doubts about reaping, that should take away any doubts. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, it's unbelievable just the stuff it does. And since then, even, we killed another bird with it. 2 days later after I killed my bird, I went with a guy and filmed him kill a bird. So it's up to 21 now for, 2 seasons essentially, within 10 yards. I don't even count the ones that we shoot beyond 10 yards. If we shoot one at 20 or if he flares and we end up killing him out at 30 or 40, we don't even count it. So it's kind of outrageous that the effectiveness of it. But, it started to gain some traction last year. This year I think it gained a little bit more. I know some states banned it. Is your state one of them?
Yeah, my state is. Yeah, I mentioned that before to you, yeah. So obviously, legality-wise, I don't have any experience with it, which is bad. I watch you do it, and I'm like, oh my God, it looks like such a legit. I mean, for turkey hunting, it looks like such a legit adrenaline rush. It just drives me nuts. I want to do it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, that was the thing. That's why we really went down that avenue last year, is because turkey hunting, I mean, I'm a big whitetail guy, and then that's kind of what we do, big game stuff. And turkey hunting was always something that was just kind of fun, but I mean, I've been doing it since I was 12 years old, and it's a matter of you can only call in so many turkeys and shoot them with a shotgun, or call them in, sit in a blind, and shoot them with a bow, or call them in out of a blind with a bow. I mean, we just wanted something that would add some spice to it, and make it fun again, and not knocking guys who call birds in and enjoy it. If that gets you, that gets you. But if you're looking for a rush, I can tell you that nobody has ever. I've never talked to anybody who's done it and been like, nah, just not for me. You know what I mean?
It's outrageous. I wasn't into that. Too much adrenaline. I didn't like it.
You get them. Yeah. You get a gobbler coming, just like that bird up north. I don't know how far he would have came. I got a little antsy with it too, but I shot him mid-stride, still coming, still in full strut. He, very well could have closed all the way in and probably flogged it. I think if I would have had a little bit more wits about me and been able to hold my itchy trigger finger back, I think I could have had some crazy stuff go on with that bird. But you're not going to shoot a bird within 5 yards and not get excited about it. So.
Yeah, you're not really. Now, before last year, Blake, had you used a different style of Reaper, and have you noticed just a avid amount of more success since switching to scoot and shoot?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that overall we started kind of doing it. The first time I've ever fanned a bird was in Nebraska, probably 8 years ago, and we'd gone out on an outfitter hunt, and the outfitter was like, hey, come with me. We were bow hunting. He said, come with me. I got an idea for midday. So we're kind of working up these shelter belts and getting on these birds, and he's just holding just a turkey fan. That's all he's doing, and above his head, And the birds would never come to it, but they wouldn't run either. So they would kind of stand there. So then you could get around him and shoot him at 30 yards and beyond. And so we kind of got the concept there. And then I think there was a couple of times in Missouri, between that time that we had birds hold up and we have our strutter decoy. So we'd crawl out, out of the blind, crawl out to the strutter decoy, and then pick it up and move it around. And the birds would come into the decoy, but you couldn't be the one shooting. You had to have somebody else shoot, the bow to get them, because you don't have any cover. And it's just not, a strutter decoy is big and clunky and just not made to move around. Mojo really changed the game with what they have. It's like a 3/4. It's light, easy, it's backable, and it's just made for it. It's got their cover in the right spot. And if you're going to shotgun them, I'll tell you, if you're going to shotgun them, you don't even have to make an addition to it to put wings on it. It's just going to add some weight to you and probably get in the way of you. You can really just take it out of the box. It comes with a fan, like a fake fan, and it worked fine. But we like to, try to get them as close as possible. So we did the upgrades, and I'm kind of OCD anyway about that stuff. Like, I camo things that shouldn't be camoed, and just
right.
unnecessary stuff all the time. I'm like wearing my face mask all the time. I don't know, but maybe it's a little bit of my OCD too. But overall, it's an effective way to do it. And I've seen videos of guys, and even last year we shot a lot of turkeys with it without having the upgrades. I mean, we had a real fan on it, but the wings were the original wings, and we shot a couple with a bow out in Kansas like that last year. And it's effective, man. It's a real game changer. I try to tell everybody, at least have one. If you want to call turkeys, go call turkeys. That's fine, but at least have a Reaper with you, because I don't know how many times I've watched birds at 100 yards never come and just stand out there and gobble and strut and gobble and strut. You throw this into the mix and you're going to have him killed. You're at least going to have a shot at him.
Yeah, like you've said before, it just changes the dynamic of it from them being just content to doing what they're doing out there, whether it's strutting for hens or showing some sort of dominance, to just changing their overall attitude to, like, I'm going to kick your ass type of deal.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, they all have a bubble. That's what I talk about in that video, and it's actually up on the Unfiltered app now. that full hunt is, and it's also on our Unfiltered Outdoors YouTube page. You can watch it at both places, but I talk about it a little bit in there about every bird has a bubble, and it's really, every bird's different when it comes to it, and you kind of got to read him and see what he's doing, but ultimately it's going to, if you show him that Reaper and he turns around and walks off, then that bird's just not a dominant bird, and it's not going to happen. If, I've had birds like this bird up North Missouri that just held up and that bird watched me for 150 yards coming and never moved. He just strutted around in circles. And then, I got into that 80, 90 yards, and I started doing that mock reaping that's shaking it, and that just changed everything for him. And you know how the turkeys are. They're just like a light switch. They can shut off just as quick as they can turn on. And he turned on and came, and, I've had birds in Missouri. I had a bird last year in Missouri that was 350 yards on a field edge away from us when we came up to the field. And literally all I did was pop the Reaper up on the edge of the field. I just came out of the brush with it, and he ran all the way across that field, straight ran all the way across the field, and we shot him at 10 yards. It's just a matter of, it's just a matter of catching that bird with, the right bird and seeing what he does. Sometimes they make it easy. You don't have to crawl anywhere. And sometimes they make it tough, and you got to crawl all the way up to him and shoot him. It's just a matter of kind of figuring out what he's going to do and where he is. And, they're like whitetails, man. They're all kind of different with dominance and, kind of where their bubble is. But we just keep pushing the issue until we find that bubble. And then on, that's where we found success in it.
And then it's on. What was I going to ask you, Blake? Oh, gear-wise, Blake, how I know you talked a little bit about not needing the wings for the shotgun, but how do you go ahead and do that setup on your bow?
So for my bow setup, what I'm wearing is I always wear a ghillie sniper coat, which is it's pretty much just the shoulders. It's like a ghillie suit, but it's just the shoulders and the hood. I wear that because a lot of times I'll wear black underneath that. So I'll wear black sleeves and a black hat. And that ghillie will give me an option of if I have to go on a bird, say I have to use the train to get around to him, I can put the ghillie hood up, and I have some breakup to where I'm not just a black shirt walking through the timber. And also it's kind of like on a bow, when I can draw the bow, when you go to draw a bow, obviously that Reaper is not going to be able to cover everything that happens in that movement. So any movement that is shown is black because it's my elbows and my hat. Anything that is shown is black. And there's a reap that's on the Unfiltered app and on the Unfiltered YouTube page from Kansas last year where a bird ran. That bird covered probably 300 yards running in. I'm on a fence line. And when I draw my bow, you literally see the birds. He slows down from running and goes in the strut for just a second. Because in my mind, I think he saw that black movement, and he thought that bird was puffing up. He just sees that when they associate black with that fan, they just assume that's part of the bird moving. If I would have had camo, that bird may have locked up on me and not moved because it's just not a natural movement that's going on. So typically I'll wear black, at least black sleeves and a black hat. If you want to wear a camo vest, that works the same way. So you have a little bit of cover for versatility for moving on them. Call-wise, if I'm in Missouri, I just take a mouth call with me. One mouth call, that's it. And then I've got my Reaper, I've got my bow, and that's it. In Kansas, I don't take a mouse call, I take a box call. Seems like the birds in Kansas and Nebraska and out west just love box calls way more than they like, at least the way I sound with a mouse call. So we take a box call, and there's actually a little flap on the inside wing of a scoot and shoot that you can slide a box call into. I don't think it's really designed for it, but I do that, and it holds my box call in there. And we only call if we absolutely have to. I did it in Missouri just to kind of get that bird fired up a little bit more and keep kind of the intensity up. You want to keep him aggressive. You don't want to have him have time to think. So as I'm calling to him, I'm going to call to him a couple times, and he would gobble to me every time. So I knew I still had his full attention. Out in Kansas, we'll do the same thing. If a bird gets nervous, or say a hen that's with the group gets nervous, I'll hit the box call one time, and that typically closes them down to where they absolutely, will just change the game for you. So always take a call with you. I usually, like I say, mouth call Missouri and then box call out west, and your bow and wearing black, and then you got the Reaper with the fan on it and wings, and you're good to go.
Now your ghillie suit, Blake, that is or ghillie coat, I should say, jacket, you had the sleeves cut off for your elbows for the black?
It comes like that, yeah.
Oh, okay. It comes like that. So, which I also like because you mentioned the ghillie just on the shoulders, like being a bow hunter, that's just custom made almost for a bow hunter, so you don't get those ghillie strings, caught up in your draw cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
I may have just messed up your podcast. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll get this edited out for us. But what was I saying? Oh, I was just saying about the way you described the ghillie with it on your shoulders. Basically, it just eliminates that option to get it caught up in your draw cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's made to where it doesn't have any ghillie on the inside of your arms, essentially, and then so all the ghillie's on the back side of your back and the back of your arms, and then it's got draw strings that you pull tight on your arms and then fold back over the ghillie. So yeah, everything's out of your way for the draw cycle, and it's a really, really cool thing. I think I picked it up off. Nobody makes just a specific one for hunting, but I picked one up off Amazon. I think the total kit was like $50, and we use it for a lot of stuff. We use it for spot and stalk mule deer. We use it for coyotes. All of our turkey stuff. It's a really, really cool little tool to use.
It is. It's a good looking jacket. I saw you in it, and it's perfect for that. Like what you said, those options of spot and stalk. It's really a perfect jacket for that, man. I like that a lot. It just makes so much sense. And like you said, just even if you're blind hunting and just walking in and out of the blind, so to speak, just having that jacket, let alone, like you said, just getting through the timber, it kind of gives you a little bit of cover.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it just breaks you up really good, and it's light. A full ghillie, if you've ever worn a full ghillie, they're super heavy and don't breathe. And this is just a really light way of giving you some cover, in an easy way, I guess.
Yeah, it is, for sure. So you're tagged out in Kansas, tagged out in Missouri, Nebraska's done. It's mid-May. Do you have anything left?
No, I actually was looking. I can still buy one more tag in Nebraska. I killed 2 up there, and you can kill 3 a year. I'm looking at maybe running up to northwestern Nebraska here, I don't know, in the next week or 2 before season closes, and trying to get one more reap in. I don't know. I was done. The Missouri bird was my last one, but now that I've set idle for a week and a half here, I'm kind of itching to do one more before the end of the season. So I may end up trying to get something figured out to go up there, whether we got to hit public or we're going to hit one of the outfitters that I deer hunt with. Just try to get there and make a little 2-day trip with the Reaper and just go and see if we can't get one killed up there with shotgun.
Yep. Are you close to getting a slam, Blake, bird-wise?
What's that?
Are you close to getting a slam, bird-wise?
Yeah, I've killed everything but an Osceola. I've just never gone down there and hunted. I think next year that's happening. I'm going to try next year to do what I call a double slam, essentially, which is kill 2 Osceolas, 2 Easterns, 2 Merriams, and then 2 Rios. See if I can pull that off. I think I can. I feel very confident with the Reaper, but I think I can try to do that with the Reaper and the bow all on camera, and we're going to see if we can't pull off something crazy like that. But
yeah, that would be a really neat accomplishment, especially with the bow. That would be phenomenal. Yeah,
it'd be fun. Yeah. It'd be fun to do. So I don't know. I can't. I'm a big bow hunter, avid bow hunter, but I can't tell you that I don't love shooting with a shotgun, because there's just times that I have to sprinkle in some shotgun kills.
Yeah.
Turkeys are almost made for shotguns,
They are. It's like I battle that demon every year. Like next year I'll grind it out in a blind again and shoot one, or try to attempt to shoot one with the bow, if I'm here in Michigan, because we can't reap like we spoke about. But like this year I just couldn't handle it, Blake. I just was like, I just want to hear that shotgun go off,
Oh, absolutely. This year we reaped, like I said, 6 birds total, 2 in Kansas, 2 in Nebraska, 1 in Missouri, and then those are all with the bow. And then this last one was with a shotgun, and it was so nice to have a bird come into that close. And, when you get that close, we shoot them in the body always. You're just going to, I've missed, in fact, there's videos of that, of me missing birds within, 8 yards that I'm trying to shoot in the head, because you're shooting a slug at that point. You just have no spread on your pattern at all. And there's just something about, shooting them in the body with a shotgun and them not moving. With a bow, you shoot them and then they'll flop off and they'll run off into the ditch or whatever the case may be. When you shoot them with a shotgun that close, they don't even move. They just roll over. And
they flop right over, which is neat.
Yeah, it was extremely satisfying for a late season kill. So, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. Hopefully we can get another one added for this year. It'd be fun, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, hopefully you get out there. But I know we talked right before the show. You're out running cameras and getting ready to put some feed and mineral out, and then pretty soon we'll be talking about that nonstop. And I guess you want, Blake, we'll just kind of announce it now. We're going to do, like pretty much a summer series on just feed, attractant, and how guys manage deer over the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm actually sitting on a hill right now on one of the farms in the middle of running cameras and getting some mineral sites refreshing and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that's it's a large majority of what we do, and I think it adds to the success that we have in the fall. And it's relatively easy. There's not a lot to it. We've found some ways to help your deer herd out quickly. You don't take a lot of time. It takes maybe a couple hours every couple weeks, and if you can get out just for a couple hours every 2-3 weeks in the summer, really it will increase your odds in the fall. So we're going to kind of talk about that and go into depth to how we do it and where we found successes in it.
Yep, and a couple other guys we have planned. We'll kind of leave that for surprise for later on, I guess, but it'll be neat to hear how they do it compared to I do it and you do it, and hopefully everybody learns something from it. So I'm excited to get that rolling with everybody.
Yeah, just kind of different areas across the Midwest, and see the diversity and kind of what, little tips they do that I may not do, and I can take that and use it, and they can do the same for me, hopefully. And yeah, I think that's kind of what we're trying to go for, is just kind of show you a broad spectrum of how guys do it across the Midwest and what little tips and tricks they have.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be highly educational, I think, and obviously we have listeners from Michigan and Missouri, so everybody in between, you're going to find some tips somewhere that's going to help you to the point where you're like, I can increase this or do a little bit more just to help manage my overall herd and the health of the herd. So, it should be awesome. But we'll cut this off here, I guess, Blake. But man, good talking to you again, and super excited for your success. And I hope you get one more yet to come. Yeah,
we'll see. I'll let you know how it goes. But I appreciate you taking time to give me a shout.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. And as everybody knows, you can check out that episode me and Blake talked about today on the Unfiltered app. It's the first tab there. I think it's called Turkey Reaping Techniques. And every week, you guys know you can find the podcast on the Unfiltered app and on iTunes. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. See you, bud.
Thanks, Blake.
Yep. Bye.